There comes a moment in your life when you understand that the weight of the world isn't yours to carry, when every criticism, every insult, every small doubt feels like it's crushing your spirit, and you ask yourself, how much more can I take? But what if real strength, true inner power, isn't in caring deeply about every pain, every opinion, every failed hope, but in learning how to act like it doesn't affect you, not because you're heartless, not because you're cold, but because you've found the freedom that shows up when you stop letting other people define you. This isn't about ignoring your emotions. No, it's about learning to manage them. It's about standing firm while chaos surrounds you, knowing that your peace is priceless. It's about walking through life with quiet strength, steady and calm, untouched by the noise of the world. When you learn to act like you don't care, you take your life back. You say, I will not let you shake my core. And that, my friend, is where the real victory begins. Often the heaviest chains are the ones we make ourselves. By caring too much about what others think, say, or do, you carry their opinions, their judgments, their hopes like an invisible weight that never fades, and eventually it wears you out. Emotional distance doesn't mean being cold or indifferent. It means realizing that the energy you waste trying to win everyone over, trying to prove yourself, is slowly draining your strength. When you're tied emotionally to every insult, every disapproval, you become exposed, open to hurt, frustration, and endless distraction. The second you learn to pull back, to observe without getting caught up, that's when you start to regain your power. You create space between your spirit and the noise, and in that space, your strength is born. Caring isn't the problem. It's caring too much about the wrong things that breaks you down. When your self-worth depends on how others view you, you give your power away. You make yourself dependent on their feelings, their words, their view of you. Imagine how freeing it feels to step back just enough so their judgment doesn't control your emotions anymore. This isn't about rejecting love or empathy. It's about choosing to guard yourself from being ruled by things outside of your control. You begin to realize that the only voice you truly need to hear is your own. That's the first step in building a confidence no one can shake. Think about those who seem untouched by insults or doubt, the ones who stay grounded when everything else is falling apart. They've discovered this secret. The ability to step back emotionally doesn't mean you don't feel. It means you won't be ruled by feelings that only drag you down. When you step back, you stop reacting from fear or insecurity. You start responding with clarity and control. That's where the real power lives, in that gap between what happens and how you respond. You create that space when you refuse to let every small comment, every failure, take control of how you feel. You're not being controlled. Being emotionally detached doesn't mean closing your heart. It means protecting it. It's not about shutting off compassion or love. It's about not letting pain, rejection, or criticism overwhelm you. You learn to watch your feelings instead of drowning in them. This ability becomes like armor, not made of steel, but of awareness and choice. You choose where to spend your energy. You choose which fights deserve your time. When you act like you don't care at the right moment, you're not being cold, you're being smart, strong, and free. The problem with caring too much is that it opens the door to manipulation. When people see that you're too eager for their approval, they use it to control you. But emotional detachment protects you. It's knowing when to take a step back, when to say no, and when to keep your spirit safe from those who want to tear you down. It's choosing your peace over people-pleasing. When you stop caring about the opinions of those who bring you down, you stop giving them power. You reclaim your focus, your time, your peace. You become strong because your validation doesn't depend on anyone else. Emotional detachment isn't something you do once. It's a choice you make every day, a habit you build. It's choosing not to get dragged into emotional chaos that isn't yours. When someone says something hurtful, you feel it, but you don't carry it. You let it move past you without letting it settle in your heart. That takes strength and discipline, especially when your instincts scream to fight back or fall apart. But the more you do it, the stronger you become. You begin to realize that your peace of mind is your most valuable treasure, and no one should have the power to take it from you. This kind of detachment also helps when you fail or face disappointment. When you care too much, every failure feels like a deep personal loss, but when you learn to hold those emotions gently, setbacks become lessons, not reflections of who you are. You realize disappointment passes, but peace stays, if you protect it. You grow stronger by not letting emotions from outside events shape how you see yourself. You keep loving yourself through every win and every loss, because your worth isn't based on what happens or what people say. There's a fine line between caring and detaching, and it's not easy to find. Too much detachment can feel like isolation, but without enough, you'll drown in emotional storms. True power is knowing when to care, how much to care, and when it's time to release it. You learn to pick your emotional battles with wisdom. That's self-respect. That's saying, my peace and my heart are not up for debate. When you act like you don't care, often you're just protecting what matters most, yourself. Because you know what you're worth, and you won't let anyone take that away. At the root of emotional detachment is love. Love for yourself. Enough love to say, I deserve peace. I deserve respect. I deserve a life free from being chained to other people's opinions. When you truly live this way, you become unstoppable. You carry an inner calm that no outside storm can touch. You become unshakable. You learn that one of the strongest ways to love yourself is by deciding not to care, when caring only causes pain. Emotional detachment is not running away from life. It's choosing your life. It's choosing your happiness. So understand this, the real strength in detachment isn't about being uncaring. It's about walking through life with a deep guard around your mind and your heart. It's creating space to be fully alive without being consumed. It's knowing what you're worth and never trading that for someone else's approval or opinion. When you get this, when it becomes real for you, you step into a kind of freedom that most people never find. You act like you don't care, not because nothing matters, but because what matters most is your peace. And you will protect it with everything you have. Your inner peace is the most important thing you have. It's more valuable than money, more vital than success, and more powerful than anything that happens outside of you. It's the quiet part inside you where your soul rests, where your thoughts can breathe, where your heart finds healing. But the world is full of noise that wants to rob you of that peace, to shake your calm with fear, stress, and anger. Protecting your peace isn't a choice, it's a necessity. If you want to live with strength, with clarity, and with purpose, you have to guard that peace like it's gold, because once you lose it, everything else begins to fall apart. The arguments, the drama, the endless pressures, they chip away at your peace until you forget who you really are. But when you hold firm, unbothered by the storm, your peace becomes your shelter. Most people don't realize how easily they give their peace away. They let small annoyances grow into major battles. They let toxic people drain their joy. They lie awake at night reliving every word, every moment, lost in regrets and what-ifs. This kind of thinking is poison. Protecting your peace means stepping away from these draining patterns. It means saying no to drama, walking away from chaos, choosing calm over conflict. You choose to invest in what lifts you, not what drags you down. That's the beginning of real power. You can't protect your peace if you don't know what's hurting it. First, you must learn what shakes your calm. Who, what, and why. Awareness gives you control. It's the light that shows you the danger before you fall into it. Maybe it's gossip. Maybe it's the news. Maybe it's comparing yourself to others. Maybe it's toxic relationships. Whatever it is, name it, understand it, and step back. Protecting your peace means building boundaries that protect your emotional space. You're not here to fix everyone's mess, but you are here to protect your calm. Life will always try to distract you, provoke you, pull you away from yourself. People will test you, events will shake you, but peace is your decision. It's not the lack of problems, it's staying grounded through them. When you guard your inner peace, you don't run from challenges. You face them with a calm mind and a steady heart. You don't react, you respond. You stay balanced even when life feels like it's falling apart. That doesn't happen by chance. It happens because you've made it your mission to guard your peace like it's the most important thing you own, because it is. Opinions, their moods, or their mistakes. When you accept this reality, you stop wasting your energy trying to change the things you cannot control. Instead, you turn your focus inward on managing your thoughts, your feelings, your reactions. This shift is powerful. It releases you from the weight of trying to carry everyone else's burdens. It puts you back in control of your own journey. When you release what you can't influence, you make room for calm, for understanding, and for personal growth. Self-care becomes an essential way to protect your peace. It's not selfish to take care of yourself, it's necessary. Your mind and body need recovery. Your spirit needs care, and your heart needs tenderness when you make self-care a priority. You build strength against the chaos of life. You improve your ability to stay balanced and focused. This includes saying no to doing too much, stepping away from the noise when it becomes too loud, and doing what brings you back to life. Protecting your peace inside means giving yourself the attention you need, because you cannot help others if you're empty. The more you take care of your well-being, the deeper your peace becomes. Sometimes protecting your peace means stepping away from harmful relationships, negative environments, or bad habits. This requires courage because it means putting your health above comfort, your growth above what's familiar. But peace cannot survive in the middle of disorder. You must be willing to let go of anything or anyone that shakes your sense of calm. This isn't a sign of weakness or being unkind. It's a sign of wisdom and inner strength. It's a way of loving yourself by guarding the sacred place within. When you walk away from what pulls you down, you open the door for healing, progress, and real happiness. Mindfulness and meditation are strong tools for guarding your peace. They help you stay in the now, observe your thoughts without judgment, and calm the storm within your mind. When you practice mindfulness, you build a safe place inside yourself, a space you can return to when life gets too heavy doing. This regularly helps you respond with peace no matter what's going on outside. It trains your mind to stay calm instead of acting from stress. It helps you find stillness even in the middle of noise. Protecting your peace isn't just about outside actions, it's about teaching your mind to be your safe space. Always remember, guarding your inner peace isn't something you do once, it's something you commit to over and over. There will be times when you lose your balance, when the world feels too loud and messy, but every time you choose to protect your peace, you become stronger, more centered, and harder to shake. You start to live with intention and awareness. You choose calm over confusion, kindness over fear, power over helplessness, and that decision changes everything. It shapes how you see yourself, how you interact with others, and how you walk through life. Protect your peace with everything you've got, because it is your strongest shield and most precious gift. When your peace is strong, others feel it. Your calm becomes a light for those around you. Your quiet strength lifts others. You stop feeding conflict or drama and instead rise above it. You become proof that true strength doesn't need to be loud or aggressive. It's steady, quiet, and unshakable. You begin to live with clear purpose, with real meaning, and with a heart wide open. And once you live like this, nothing can break you, because the peace within you cannot be touched, and that peace is a force that moves mountains. Have you ever noticed how many people feel drained, used, or overlooked? It's often because they never learned to set healthy boundaries, clear, strong limits that protect their time, their energy, and their peace. Setting boundaries without apology isn't about being rude or distant. It's about honoring your worth. When you start saying no without guilt, you take back the power in your life. You stop being everyone's last-minute choice, their emotional dumping ground, or their go-to fixer. Boundaries are like invisible shields around your soul. When they're firm, they create space where you can grow and thrive. It's time to stop shrinking yourself to meet others' comfort and start stepping into your full power. Many people fear setting boundaries because they were taught it's wrong or mean. They're afraid to let others down or seem difficult. But the truth is, boundaries are a deep act of self-respect. When you set one, you're not saying, I don't care about you. You're saying, I care about myself enough to stand up for my needs. You cannot give your best if you're running on empty. And when you let others cross your lines, you lose your inner balance. Learning to set limits without regret is about knowing your value and teaching others to recognize it too. It's a quiet but strong message that your time, your energy, and your peace are not open for misuse. When you begin to set boundaries without apologies, people will push back. They'll test you because they've gotten used to taking advantage. Some might try to make you feel guilty or selfish or even lash out, but this is when you hold steady. Boundaries are not walls that shut others out. They are doors that keep harm from getting in. You don't owe anyone a reason for protecting your peace. You don't have to explain why your no means no. This is your life, and your peace is your job to guard, and the more you do, the more powerful and respected you become. Setting boundaries also means understanding and honoring your own capacity. You are human, not a machine. You have feelings, limits, and needs that must be respected, starting with you when you honor yourself. Others will follow you. Teach them how to treat you by how you treat yourself. You begin to reject disrespect, avoid neglect, and walk away from emotional drain. You stop settling for less than you know you deserve. And this shift is life-changing because it rewires how you allow others to approach you. Sometimes people confuse boundaries with rejection or punishment, but that's not what they are. Boundaries create safety for both sides. When you say no to what hurts you, you're saying yes to what helps you. When you remove yourself from drama, you make space for peace. When you stop accepting disrespect, you invite. In honor and care, boundaries create the foundation for healthy, lasting relationships. Without them, confusion and resentment grow. But with them, real connection and respect blossom. Learning to set boundaries without guilt also means saying no with clarity and care. You don't have to be cold. You can be firm and kind. At the same time, it takes time to learn, but becomes easier with every step. Every time you say no without shame, you're showing the world that your energy matters. You stop the cycle of always pleasing others and start building a life rooted in honesty. This is how you reclaim your power and peace. You no longer exist just to make others happy. You begin to live for your own truth. Setting boundaries with confidence also requires you to be real with yourself. You must know what's okay and what isn't. What kind of behavior wears you down? What kind of demands drain you? When you get clear on your lines, it's much harder for anyone to cross them. You create a kind of armor around your soul that welcomes love but blocks harm. This kind of clarity frees you from guilt, doubt, and pressure that steals your peace sometimes. You may second-guess yourself, feel torn or guilty, but every time you hold your ground, you're rewriting your story. You're showing yourself and the world that you matter, that your peace is worth protecting. The discomfort is temporary, but the strength you gain is lasting. When you hold your limits with pride, you become your own protector, your own voice, your own leader. You stop waiting for others to allow you to live and take the lead. Boundaries become the map to your freedom, the key to your calm, and the reflection of your self-worth. When you live with firm limits, you build a life that feels real, strong, and peaceful. Setting boundaries without apology isn't just a habit, it's a quiet revolution. It's reclaiming your peace, your power, and your path. It's refusing to be walked on and instead walking through life with boldness and clarity. When you do this, you stop fearing judgment and step into your truth. And that is power that can't be shaken. Silence is not weakness. It's not emptiness or lack. It's the quiet strength beneath the noise of life. A power so calm and steady that it can move the world. In a society that loves noise, endless talking, and constant alerts, silence becomes your place of strength. It's where your mind can pause, your heart can mend, and your deepest strength can rise. There is power in staying quiet when the world wants you to shout. There is bravery in staying calm when life tries to pull you into chaos. The strength of silence is the ability to listen, to reflect, and to choose your words carefully. When you embrace silence, you stop trying to fight every battle out loud and begin to win the real war within. People often mistake silence for weakness or surrender, but it's not. Silence means staying steady with focus and calm. It's being able to stop and think instead of rushing to react. When you speak less, you hear more. You start to really understand people, feel the things they don't say, and connect to truths that go beyond words. The strongest people don't always shout. They carry a quiet power that demands attention without asking for it. Silence becomes your shield, protecting you from pointless fights and saving your energy for what truly counts. In quiet moments, you can face your fears, your doubts, and your pain with honesty. The outside noise can't reach you, when you go to that peaceful space inside, that's where you truly see yourself clearly. Without the blur of anger or irritation, silence teaches you patience, the ability to wait without stress or quick reaction. It is within silence that you find the bravery to face your deepest truths and the will to keep moving. It's a quiet battlefield where the strongest fights are faced and won without noise. When you stop filling every second with talk or distraction, you make space for growth, healing, and real change. The world often pushes us to prove our worth with words, to explain our actions, and to look for approval. But there is deep strength in staying quiet, in standing strong without needing to prove anything. Silence can be your loudest message. It says, I am complete, without needing to say it out loud. It says, I believe in my journey, without looking for others to agree. When you welcome the power of silence, you stop wasting your words on those who don't respect them. You save your energy and speak only when it truly matters, when the right people or purpose shows up. This quiet strength pulls others in and cannot be shaken. Silence also works like a wall against negativity. When people try to trigger you or pull you into fights or try to break your calm, silence is your reply. Walking away from arguments you don't need isn't weakness. It's real strength. Saying no to chaos that ruins your peace is a strong decision. You do not have to explain your value or argue your point to everyone. Sometimes the most powerful thing to say is nothing at all. When you guard your silence strongly, you guard your peace. You show others that you won't be dragged into drama or confusion. Your silence speaks louder than any comeback ever could. The strength in silence also shows in true listening. When you stop talking and really listen, you open your heart and mind to others. You start to understand their pain, their worries, and their truths. Silence builds a path to understanding and real human connection. It lets you respond with care, not judgment. When you speak less and hear more, you become a calm force in stressful times, a steady light that others turn to in their darkest moments. Silence becomes more than just comfort. It becomes a gift sometimes. Silence is where your biggest choices are made. When everything feels messy and your thoughts are racing, entering silence brings clarity. It's in those quiet spaces that you hear your own voice, your real voice, above the noise of fear and confusion. Silence makes your gut feelings stronger and helps guide your next step. It clears the mess so you can focus on what really matters. Strength in silence means trusting that the right answers will appear if you wait and listen. It means believing in your inner guidance, even when the world outside is loud. The world celebrates noise, stress, and attention-seeking, but the strongest people walk a different road. They choose silence, control, and quiet confidence. They understand that power doesn't always shout. Sometimes it speaks softly. It is the calm during a storm, the peace during stress, the steady hand when things fall apart. When you learn how to hold your silence, you become unshakable. You stand like a rock, strong and still, no matter how wild the winds around you blow. This is the kind of quiet strength that changes lives. Yours first, then those close to you. Silence can feel lonely sometimes. It can seem like being alone when the world expects constant talking and connection. But in that silence, you find freedom. Freedom from being judged, from constant demands, from endless noise. In silence, you meet yourself completely. Your dreams, your worries, your hopes. That's where you build inner strength and strong faith. When you choose silence, you are choosing to value yourself. You are picking peace over noise, depth over surface level talk, wisdom over nonsense. This is real power, a kind of strength very few ever find, and it changes everything. The strength in silence is being fully present and real without saying sorry. It's the power to stay calm when the world pushes for drama. It's the bravery to listen more than you speak, to move with purpose, and trust your heart more than outside opinions. When you live with this kind of strength, nothing can break you. Your silence becomes your power, your defense, your safe place. And in that silence, you find the strength to live bravely, love with heart, and rise above any test with quiet grace. Not caring too much is often viewed as giving up or not feeling anything or being cold. But what if I told you that not caring in the right way can be your secret tool? What if the cool stillness of indifference was the first step to strong focus? when you learn how to turn healthy indifference into sharp focus. You stop being pulled by every feeling or small distraction. You stop using your energy on things that don't help you grow. This kind of indifference becomes like armor, blocking the loudness of stress, drama, and mess. It's not about having no heart, it's about choosing where your heart and energy go. This type of indifference doesn't make you numb, it makes you sharper. It clears room for your biggest goals to grow and shine. There is power in letting go of things that hold you down, like opinions that limit you, problems that aren't yours, or emotional traps that drain your spirit. When you become indifferent to nonsense, you take back your mental space and power. Picture not being dragged in every direction by drama or by needing approval. Instead, you keep your eyes on your goals and your beliefs. Indifference is like a gate, a filter, and a strong wall. It's the decision to care deeply only about what feeds your growth and to let go of the rest. When you shift indifference into focus, you unlock a new kind of strength and clear thinking. But this shift is not about ignoring the world or cutting off your emotions. It's about being smart with your time and choosing what really deserves your energy. You are not indifferent because you feel nothing. You are indifferent because you care enough to protect your peace from being drained. Focus needs energy, self-control, and clear emotion. When you let every little thing bother you, your energy gets spread too thin and your strength weakens. Proper indifference becomes your tool to keep your fire alive and steady. It helps you put your time into what really matters without getting distracted. The world is always trying to pull you into problems, noise, and fake urgency. Social media is built to make you feel stressed, emotional, or angry all the time, but when you wear indifference like protection, you don't join that game. You watch from a calm place, untouched. You don't need to react to every challenge or defend every decision. Indifference gives you space to step back, to remain calm in the middle of the mess. This kind of quiet distance is not cold, it is focused. It is clear. It helps you move through life with peace and direction without being knocked off your path. Turning indifference into focus also means learning to quiet the voices inside your own mind, the ones filled with fear, worry, and doubt. We often lose time and peace fighting these voices too. Indifference to inner noise is just as important as blocking outside noise. When you stop giving attention to fear and hesitation, you become free to act with boldness. Focus means not getting caught up in endless worry or what might go wrong. Indifference is the quiet skill that lets you say, "Not now, this isn't useful." It is the start of mental toughness. Understand this, turning indifference into focus is not about cutting yourself off or ignoring your feelings. It is about emotional control, knowing when to step in and when to step back. It's about being fully present with clear goals, not just reacting because you're used to it. Indifference means you don't let emotions run your time or steal your energy. It means you create space to act with meaning. And when you master this skill, you step into a new level of calm. Power, become the captain of your own ship, steering through life with clear intention. You no longer wander without purpose. You set a course toward your vision with steady focus. The beauty of turning indifference into focus is that it shifts how you handle obstacles. When you're indifferent to distractions, setbacks lose their grip on you. You no longer pour your energy into frustration or discouragement. Instead, you redirect that energy into finding solutions and moving forward. Focus clears your mind and helps you spot opportunities even in adversity. Once you identify the real problem, you have focus to redirect the focus. Designed for the outside, noise brings the mental space needed to push through challenges without disturbing your peace. It becomes your calm in the storm that keeps you steady while others lose direction. This isn't passive acceptance, it's deliberate, powerful strength. Turning indifference into focus is also a way to shield your dreams from the doubts and criticisms of others. When you stop caring about being accepted or judged, you give yourself the freedom to chase your goals with confidence. You start trusting your own vision more than the noise of the world. This kind of focus demands a level of emotional detachment that only a few ever develop. It can feel isolating at times, but it's also the path toward excellence. When you stop craving approval, you start chasing real results. And that shift changes everything. Mastered indifference fuels discipline. It keeps you on track when your motivation fades. It helps you resist distractions, temptations, and shortcuts that try to pull you off your path. Turning indifference into focus is the quiet strength behind those who achieve lasting greatness. They don't waste energy on things that don't matter. They stay fixed on their purpose, their emotions grounded, and their thoughts clear. This type of focus doesn't scream for attention, but it's powerful. It's the silent force that brings dreams to life. Ultimately, turning indifference into focus is a gift you give to yourself. It's the ability to reclaim your time, your energy, and your direction. It's the courage to put your peace before chaos and your purpose before distractions. Once you master this mindset, you become unshakable, not because you don't feel, but because you understand when to care and when to let go. This is how you walk through life with strength, clarity, and meaning. This is how you win, by turning indifference into the sharpest form of focus the world has ever seen. There comes a moment in life when you understand that chasing approval is a trap, a cage disguised as acceptance. You may have spent years trying to fit into boxes, chasing the brief approval of others. But real power and freedom come not from what others think, but from the solid foundation of self-respect. When you choose self-respect over approval, you stop being a passenger in your own life. You become the driver, steering your path with pride and certainty. Self-respect becomes the shield that guards your spirit from constant rejection and criticism. It's the declaration that your value is not up for negotiation and that you won't shrink yourself just to make others feel comfortable. Approval is temporary, like a shadow that moves with the sun. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's gone. But self-respect is lasting. It's a deep sense of worth that can't be shaken by outside voices. With self-respect, you don't need applause. You become your own support system. You stand by your dreams, protect your boundaries, and stay true to your values, even if it means walking alone. This isn't arrogance, it's bravery. It's the power to look at yourself and say, I am enough. Without that belief, you'll always be vulnerable to the addiction of needing approval, which robs you of peace and stunts your growth. Many confuse being kind with seeking validation, but they're not the same. Kindness flows from self-respect. It's giving without losing yourself. But chasing approval often means giving away pieces of who you are just to be liked. And that trade-off always comes at a cost: your authenticity. When you root yourself in self-respect, you stop sacrificing your truth to fit in. You start living in harmony with your core values, no matter how loud the world gets. That's where real peace and power live. You become a presence, not because you demand respect, but because you naturally command it. Living for approval creates a life driven by fear. Fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of not being liked. These fears keep you stuck, pleasing everyone else while neglecting your own truth. But self-respect breaks those chains. It gives you the courage to say no without guilt and yes without doubt. It empowers you to walk away from toxic environments without second-guessing yourself. When you choose self-respect, fear starts to lose control over your life. The world will test your self-worth daily. It will try to pull you back into the exhausting race for validation through doubt and judgment. But those voices only have power if you give it to them. Self-respect is the armor you wear against that noise. It's the inner voice that says, I know my value regardless of what you think. With self-respect, you build emotional strength. You become resilient, not because life gets easier, but because you grow stronger. Setbacks become lessons and criticism becomes motivation. Choosing self-respect over approval means embracing your flaws. It's knowing you don't need to be perfect to be valuable. Approval often demands a mask of perfection, a role you play to be accepted. But self-respect accepts your humanness. It values your lessons learned through mistakes and honors your scars as signs of strength. Once you understand this, you stop saying sorry for being yourself. You walk tall, imperfections and all, because you understand that your worth is rooted in self-love, not validation. This kind of acceptance is liberating. It changes how you connect with others. When you respect yourself, you naturally attract respect. You build boundaries that guard your energy and your spirit. You stop allowing manipulation, dishonesty, or disrespect to exist in your life. That doesn't mean becoming cold or distant. It means becoming wise. You choose relationships that reflect your value back to you. And when someone fails to do that, You leave, not out of spite, but out of strength. Self-respect also means putting your needs first without feeling guilty. It means realizing that your time, emotions, and energy are important. You stop stretching yourself thin to please others at the cost of your own peace. This isn't selfish, it's necessary. When you care for yourself first, you have more to give, and what you give comes from fullness, not emptiness. Self-respect reminds you that your joy is your responsibility, not something you gain by sacrificing your soul to please others. The path of self-respect is not easy. It asks you to break old habits, face inner fears, and sometimes stand alone. But every step you take in this direction strengthens you. Every time you choose your truth over the crowd's opinion, you build a deeper confidence. You become a symbol of strength and realness in a world that desperately needs both. This journey leads to a life where you are defined not by anyone else's thoughts, but by your own deep belief in who you are. And that, above all, is true freedom. When you embrace self-respect, you reclaim your power. You stop existing in the shadow of others' opinions and start living in the light of your truth. That's where true confidence is born, not from praise, but from inner worth. It's the foundation for every goal you chase, every boundary you draw, and every moment of peace you protect. Choose self-respect and watch your life transform. Not because the world changes, but because you do. When you finally learn to act like you don't care, not out of bitterness, but from peace, you begin to see what real strength looks like. It's not in convincing people of your worth. It's not in chasing attention, praise, or acceptance. It's in being grounded in who you are, in what you believe, and in what you'll no longer tolerate. It's choosing your peace over their opinion, your calm over chaos, and your energy over endless expectation. Acting like you don't care isn't coldness, it's clarity. It's choosing your mental health over popularity. It's learning to emotionally detach, not because you're weak, but because you've been strong for too long in places that didn't deserve you. You leave not to punish, but to protect your soul. You speak less, listen more, and understand that not every battle deserves your presence. You build boundaries and don't feel bad for having them. You stop justifying your choices to people who were never rooting for you. You say no with the same confidence you once said yes. You stop asking for permission to feel at peace. In the quiet, you find your real voice. You find strength in stillness, insight in solitude, and healing in distance. You begin to realize that some people only appreciate your presence once it's gone. And by that time, you've already appreciated your own. You stop waiting for others to fix or validate you. You become your own anchor, your own savior. Your focus turns inward. You stop searching outward for peace and begin building it from within. You take the energy you once wasted on overthinking and people-pleasing, and you turn it into growth, discipline, and love for yourself. You learn how to care for your soul, how to be alone and feel complete, how to love yourself deeply even if no one else applauds. You realize that protecting your peace isn't selfish, it's essential. That silence isn't weakness, it's wisdom. That letting go isn't defeat, it's freedom. You stop apologizing for putting yourself first. You stop shrinking to make others feel big. You understand that the most powerful move you can make is walking away from anything that dishonors your worth, and doing so quietly, not to prove a point, but to honor your soul. You stop trying to fix people and start limiting their access. You no longer cling to what drains you out of fear of being alone, because now you know that peace is better than company that costs your soul. You rise above the noise, the games, the lies, the drama, not because you want attention, but because you're finished being held down. You grow in silence. You elevate in solitude. And when you show up, you do so differently. Not louder, but clearer. Not harsher, but stronger. Not bitter, but better. You become the version of yourself that you once needed, the one who guards their peace, values their energy, and never settles for less than their soul deserves. You choose indifference, not to feel nothing, but to focus on what matters. You stop giving energy to what you can't control. You save your strength for what builds you. Your discipline becomes louder than your fears. your actions more consistent than your past, and your self-respect becomes the foundation for your entire life. You learn to be kind, but no longer tolerate disrespect masked as love. And in that shift, you find a deeper love for yourself. Not loud, not flashy, but steady. The kind that holds your head high when life tries to bring you low. The kind that shows up for you on your darkest days. The kind that gives you peace without asking for permission. You become whole not by gaining more, but by letting go of what no longer serves you. You begin living not for approval, not for applause, but for your soul. This journey isn't about pretending not to care. It's about finally not caring about the things that steal your peace. It's about choosing freedom over fear, truth over comfort, and yourself over empty validation. You stop begging, you stop explaining, you stop shrinking, and in doing so, you become everything you were meant to be by releasing everything you were never meant to carry. Thank you for listening with your heart. May you leave this moment not with bitterness, but with clarity. Not with a hardened heart, but a wiser one. Protect your peace, honor your worth, and never apologize for choosing yourself. God bless you. Stay strong, keep walking in truth,